Hey, what is up, family? Welcome back to day two of our 31 days of wisdom, a journey through the book of Proverbs. Hey, we're going to spend the next 31 days through the book of Proverbs to receive, to gain wisdom and understanding, because we know that we will be better for it. So I hope that first video was of value to you. And if it was, I would really love to know. Let us know in the comments below. And let us know also, as you're reading through these Proverbs as well, what are some things that are standing out to you? We want to hear from you. I want to hear from you so that we can share it with one another, so that we can learn and grow and bring value to one another. And so we're in day 2. That means we're in chapter 2, and our key verse for chapter 2 is verse 5, and it says, "Then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." So if it's telling us that we will find it, then we will find it and understand, then that must mean we got to do some things in order to get to that. And so that's what we're going to read. And just before we start, chapter 2 really lets us know the value of wisdom. It puts a value on wisdom. That's how important value is, because that's how important wisdom is, because it puts a value on it. So I'm going to read the first 5 verses. And of course, our key verse is verse 5, and it's going to tie everything all together. And it says, "My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom and inclining your heart to understanding. Yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." Man, I love those first couple of verses, because it lets me know that there is some value, that this is not a waste of time, that there is something to gain when we chase and we go after wisdom. And wisdom has a value. And that's my first point, that it's worth something. Verse 4, it says, "Seek it like silver," meaning it's there to be found. In previous chapters, it let us know that wisdom cries aloud in the street. So wisdom is out there to be found. And so we got to look for it, because we know that it has a value. Seek it like silver, verse 4 says. And so what value have we put on things that will perish, or things that are elusive? We put so much time and energy in chasing the next best thing. We put so much time and energy in, finding things that are simply going to rot or perish, or things that seem very elusive as well. But here in chapter 2, verse 5, it lets us know that if we put in the effort, that we will find wisdom. And that's my second point, is that we must put in the effort. Verse 2, "Making your ear attentive to wisdom and inclining," or in other words, applying your heart to understanding. So we got to put in the work. We got to put in the work to find wisdom. It's not going to happen by accident. We're not going to accidentally become wiser. We're not going to accidentally have this plethora of wisdom, but we are going to have to put in the effort. And so in the seasons that we go through in learning, in having knowledge and wisdom and understanding, it's because we have to put in the effort to gain that wisdom, to be much better than we are. And so there are ways to seek out that wisdom based off verses 1 through 5, right? It says receive. We got to receive. We got to treasure it. We got to incline our ears and our hearts. We got to apply ourselves. We got to cry out, and we have to seek. And we know that we won't stop at nothing to seek and find wisdom, because we know that there is a value that those who do seek wisdom, and we'll see that play out throughout the book of Proverbs, is that when we do seek wisdom, it's never going to be a waste of time, right? It's never going to be this elusive thing, but we are always going to find it. And I think just early on between these two chapters, 1 and 2, we know that the promise is if we look for wisdom, if we look for it, if we call out to it, right? If we raise our voice for understanding, like I want wisdom, I want understanding. If we seek it like silver, seek it and search for it as for hidden treasures, things that have value, then we will understand the fear of the Lord, and we will find the knowledge of God. And so we won't stop at nothing. And lastly, number 3 is that we won't be disappointed. As we just read in verse 5, is that we will find it. And then, but further down in verse 9, then you will understand righteousness and justice and equity, every good path. And so that is the reason, as chapter 1 told us, to know wisdom and instruction, to understand words of insight, to receive instruction in wise dealing. We gain wisdom and instruction so that we can deal with our everyday stuff, right? Wise dealing in righteousness, in justice, and in equity, in every good path. In verse 10, for wisdom will come into your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. And so those 3 things stood out to me. And even further, as we continue in chapter 2, really, we're going to begin to see that having wisdom and seeking knowledge is it's protection, right? It's protection from evil. It's protection from, I think further down in chapter 2, it's protection from the forbidden woman, the adulterous woman. It's protection from all these things. So when we seek wisdom, we are protected. When we seek wisdom, it's a life or a death thing, right? When we seek it and when we find it, we will live. We will have long life. We will prosper. But if we're fools and if we despise this wisdom, then it will bring us to our demise. It will bring us to our ruin. It'll kill us by turning away if we are complacent in our understanding. If we think that we've had it all figured out or we understand, then we will find ourselves on the decline. But there is a promise, and that promise is verse 21. But the upright will inhabit the land. The upright will inhabit the land, and that's as we think about the promised land, right? That was the basic covenant that God made with Abraham and with Moses and his people. And so there is a path that will bring us joy. There is a path that will bring us long life. There is a path that will bring us peace if we put in the effort to find wisdom. If we value it, right? We'll see that theme play out as well. Is if we value finding wisdom, if we value seeking, and if we value this thing, that we will find it, and that we will be the better for it. So hope that was a blessing to you. Hope that was a value as we continue to go through our 31 days of wisdom through the book of Proverbs. Once again, Proverbs chapter 2, verse 5, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. But we got to put in the work. So let me know below and, comment. I'm ready to put in the work. I'm putting in the work so that we can be better as we do this life. So hopefully that was a blessing to you, fam. Can't wait to see you tomorrow on our next video for chapter 3, day 3, as we go through this 31 days of wisdom. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next video.